Hello and welcome to the She Reads Romance Books podcast, the ultimate show for romance book lovers looking for the best books worth reading. I'm your host, Leslie Murphy, and in each short episode, I share my favorite book list of recommendations so you know exactly what to add to your must-read list. Join me as I explore the romance genre and have fun collecting book boyfriends along the way, because life is better with a love story. Hello, readers! Thanks so much for joining me today and always for this episode of the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I'm Leslie, the woman obsessed with reading romance. And before I launch into the 10 new romance book releases that I cannot wait to read this coming May, I have a big announcement. Big, huge. I am beyond excited to announce finally that the She Reads Romance Books Book Club is now live and ready for you to join. If you've been looking to connect with other readers who love the romance genre as much as you do, or if you want to read a book with other readers and get together virtually to talk about it, or if you've always wanted to chat with your favorite romance book authors, then you really don't want to miss out, because you can do all of that and more as a member of the She Reads Romance Books Book Club. You can join now, as I said, and get started already on our May 2024 book selection. When you sign up, you'll instantly get access to all of the book club materials, including a discussion guide and journal pages for the monthly book selection. You'll also be invited to join in our virtual book club meeting via Zoom at the end of the month, as well as our Q&A session with the book's author on Zoom, which I'm so excited to offer. If you can't make those meeting dates or times, then you'll also have access to the recorded videos, as well as my library of exclusive video interviews with authors that includes extended content that you won't find anywhere else. I'm not sure if you've listened to my last two episodes. I interviewed Amy Dawes and the amazing Candy Steiner. Gosh, those interviews were so much fun, and I have so many more planned. So you can catch me with those two women, as well as my upcoming author interviews in the book club membership. And as a member, you'll also be instantly given access to our book club community forum, where you can chat with and connect with other members, or even find buddy readers, or really just meet people who share your love of reading romance and can swap recommendations and the like. You'll also get my exclusive books like list for each monthly selection, and I plan to add even more fun items exclusive to book club members. So really the fun is just beginning. You can go ahead and sign up to join or learn more at shereadsromancebooks.com/book club, or click in the link in the show notes. I really hope to see you in the club. Like I said, I'm beyond excited to finally have this launch and can't wait to meet you inside. If you can't tell, I'm really excited about this book club because it's been a goal of mine with the blog, which I'm now finally getting to really help foster a community where readers can find their people. Social channels, can be great for that for some, but not for others. And we romance readers need to stick together when it's still too often that people kind of look down their noses at us for loving this genre so much. So it's my goal to create a fun, non-judgmental space where we can all come together and indulge in our love of romance books. So there you have it. Join the club. I guarantee you won't regret it. Now, let's dive into my most anticipated new romance books releasing this May so that you know what to add to your TBR list. If I've said it once, I'll say it again. I love, 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 love looking at all of the new romance books to come every given month and throughout the year. From just looking at their gorgeous covers, to the tropes they cover, to the storylines they'll deliver. And there's just so much variety in the romance book genre. It can feel almost overwhelming at times, and with just so many authors to choose from. which is why I like to put these episodes together to give you some guidance and some recommendations of the books that you definitely have to have on your radar. As I said, I love, scouring over all of the titles set to release, but you might not have the time or desire to do so, which is probably why you're here and listening to this episode. So rest assured that I've done the work for you in checking out what new books are heading our way next month and picked out my top 10 favorites that I cannot wait to read and suggest that you go ahead and pre-order as well. A few of these new romance books are from my list of most anticipated romance books of 2024, which I always put together at the start of the year. As I said, there's a lot of variety in my picks too, so no matter what categories of romance or which romance book tropes you enjoy, if you like Marriage of Convenience, Enemies to Lovers, Grumpy Sunshine, or even paranormal romance, I have something for you in today's list. And I want to remind you too that you can always listen to my past podcast episodes for more monthly release episodes, or you can check them out on shereadsromancebooks.com, as well as my upcoming releases page there, which gives you all of the new romance book titles releasing from this point forward to the rest of the year. So don't miss those, episodes and opportunities too if you need to add even more books to your TBR list. But I'm going to jump in and start with the first book that I want to talk about today, which is Band Together by Piper Sheldon. This is a small town romance that releases May 2nd, and I'm just going to go ahead and read the book summary to you. Leo Cooper is back in Green Valley to hide, not fall in love with the tenacious band director who's determined to drag him into the light. After being kicked out of his massively successful rock band, Leo is content to spend bunco nights with his mom, lay low making snacks, and lick his wounds. He'd rather work in his garden than give any attention to his failed music career. Cut to the gorgeous high school band director relentlessly popping up in his life, making demands and talking about giving back to the community. Mari Mitchell knows what it's like to be overlooked. She's determined to do whatever it takes to ensure her students get the best shot possible, even if that means running herself ragged. And when a former rock star returns to town, who could be better to help her favorite student make their dreams come true? Does it matter that he's a moody musician who reminds her of a handsome, tragic hero of an old-timey movie? No, she's too busy for things like burning hot physical attraction and chemistry that won't quit. She needs Leo for more than his irresistible drummer arms, no matter how amazing they feel wrapped around her. But what nobody knows is that the hit to Leo's pride was a big one, and Mari might be asking too much. Can these two band together, or will their painful past prevent them from having the future they deserve? Sounds super, super cute, right? So I'm really ready to dive into the Smarty Pants romance spring releases, starting with this one. I know that a few of the other books in the launch released in April, including Passing Notes by Nora Everly, which is actually the first book in the Teacher's Lounge series, of which this one is a part of. That book made my list of must-read new releases for April because it too sounded adorable, which it's I think a single dad neighbors to lovers romance, but I haven't quite gotten to it yet. But I adore that Band Together features a grumpy former rock star as the hero and the sweet teacher who falls for him when he really just wants to be left alone, right? I'm actually also really excited to learn more about the student that Mari is so desperate to help too, because teachers just don't get enough credit these days, right? And I have a feeling that Mari is one of the good ones. If you are looking for a new Grumpy Sunshine romance to read, consider adding this one to your must-read list next month. I definitely am. The next book on my list that I think many already probably have on their must-read list is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. This is her latest contemporary romance, which releases May 7th, and this is what it's about. This summer, they'll keep their promise. This summer, they won't give into temptation. This summer will be different. Lucy is the tourist vacationing at a beach house on Prince Edward Island. Felix is the local who shows her a very good time. The only problem, Lucy doesn't know he's her best friend's younger brother. Lucy and Felix's chemistry is unreal, but the list of reasons why they need to stay away from each other is long, and they vow to never repeat that electric night again. It's easier said than done. Each year, Lucy escapes to PEI for a big breath of coastal air, fresh oysters, and crisp vino verde with her best friend, Bridget. Every visit begins with a long walk on the beach beneath soaring red cliffs in a golden sun. In every visit, Lucy promises herself she won't wind up in Felix's bed. Again. If Lucy can't help being drawn to Felix, at least she's always kept her heart out of it. When Bridget suddenly flees Toronto a week before her wedding, Lucy drops everything to follow her to the island. Her mission is to help Bridget through her crisis and resist the one man she's never been able to. But Felix's sparkling eyes and flirty quips have been replaced with something new, and Lucy's beginning to wonder just how safe her heart truly is. Gosh, Carly totally has the market on summer romance books, but I didn't finish her first book, nor did I pick up her second release, given the themes that were in them. So I think this one may finally be the book for me to see what all the fuss is about, and I really hope it delivers and lives up to the hype. I adore summer romance books, and stay tuned because I'll be dropping my list of summer romance books for 2024 in just a few weeks. But this one caught my eye in particular because of the setting, which is Prince Edward Island. I'm a bit obsessed with the small Canadian island and have dreams of visiting it one day. Ever since I did a report on it in elementary school, I still vividly remember the cover drawing that I did for my report. It's crazy. And incidentally, I went to New York City this past December with my daughter, and we were standing in line to get into Ellen's Stardust Diner for dinner, which, if you've never heard of it, it is a diner near Times Square and Broadway and Rockefeller Center, where all of the waiters and waitresses are wannabe Broadway stars. And so they each take turns singing show tunes throughout the day and night. It's such a fun atmosphere and was really cool to experience. But while we were waiting in line, which literally went down the street and around the block, mind you, we were waiting behind this super nice couple who, after striking up a conversation, because we all just came from the Rockette show, found out that they were from Prince Edward Island. And my eyes got so wide and I was like, oh my gosh, tell me all of the things. They were so sweet because they gave me, all the tourist tips of what to do and what to see if, or I should say, when I make it there. But until that day comes, I can hopefully visit it through the pages of this book this summer. If you want to dive into a summer romance that is a somewhat, forbidden romance, forced proximity situation, then check out This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune, even if you could care less about Prince Edward Island. It just sounds really, really good. Next up on my list is Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown, which is an enemies to lovers romance releasing May 7th, and here is what it is about. Emma Townsend can sum up her ship with hot as hell romantic red flag Finn Hughes in one word, almost. They almost dated in high school. They almost hooked up after college. They almost took things too far one magical night. Their whole story is one series of almosts and nearlies, and now they just kind of can't stand each other, at all. But this weekend, one of their mutuals is getting married, and Emma and Finn will have to pretend they don't remember how disastrous it was the last time they were in a room together. Emma's doing a stellar job of playing it cool until the bride goes missing. Now, with 2 days before the wedding, Emma and Finn are hitting the road in a sweet vintage sports car in hopes of salvaging someone else's happily ever after. Yet somewhere between Emma's breakfast burrito throwdown, a high-stakes kayak chase, and an outrageous Vegas detour, these sworn enemies are crossing more than just state lines. As old feelings spark once more, Emma begins to question whether risking your heart is ever really a mistake. Gosh, I love enemies to lovers. I say that all the time, and this book just sounds adorable. I really, really am excited for it. And I guess if you love reality TV or watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, you might recognize the name of this author. I don't watch either, and so that didn't really influence me in picking this book. But supposedly Hannah Brown, I guess, was on The Bachelor and then got picked to be on The Bachelorette. And this is her debut novel. The hook for me, though, with this novel is that I love how Emma and Finn almost hooked up and almost dated several times in their past. I'm just so curious to know why they never got it right and if it's really worth them actually or finally giving it a go in the present. Plus, it sounds like a really fun forced proximity romance while they go looking for this runaway bride, too. The book summary does such a great job of also making this sound like a super fun rom-com with all the crazy shenanigans that they probably get into. So here's hoping that this is a stellar debut. We will just have to see. Now, next book to put on your radar is Love at First Book by Jen McKinley, which releases, May 14th. I have never read a book by Jen before, so this is a new one for me. And here is what it's about. Emily Allen, a librarian on Martha's Vineyard, has always dreamed of a life of travel and adventure. So when her favorite author, Siobhan Reardon, offers her a job in the Emerald Isle, Emily jumps at the opportunity. After all, Siobhan's novels got Em through some of the darkest days of her existence. Helping her write the final book in her acclaimed series after a 10-year hiatus due to a scorching case of writer's block is a dream come true for Emily. If only she didn't have to deal with Siobhan's son, Kieran Murphy. He manages Siobhan's bookstore, and the grouchy bookworm clearly doesn't want Em around. Emily persists in spending her days bantering with the annoyingly handsome, mercurial Irishman only makes her fall more deeply in love with the new life she's built, and for the man who seems to soften toward her with every quip she throws at him. But when she discovers the reason for Kieran's initial resistance, Em finds herself torn between helping Siobhan find closure with her series and her new undeniable feelings for Kieran. As Siobhan's novel progresses, Emily will have to decide if she truly is ready to turn a new page and figure out what lies in the next chapter. I love romance books that sweep you away to a new location, and I love romance books set in Ireland, which is why this book caught my eye. I also love that it's a grumpy sunshine romance, sort of enemies to lovers romance. Plus, it's about an author and a bookstore and Ireland. So, what's not to love about it? How cool would it be to be offered a job to work with one of your favorite authors? Pretty cool, I would say. And I'd do it, even if it meant running into a grump. I just hope that McKinley writes the best barbs when it comes to Kieran and his grumpiness towards Emily. I have a feeling that she definitely will. So put this one on your TBR list for May. Next up is the new release from one of my favorite writer duos, which is The Paradise Problem by the lovely Christina Loren. This is a fake relationship, marriage of convenience, opposites attract romance that releases on May 14th. And here is the full summary. Anna Green thought she was marrying Liam Weston for access to subsidized family housing while at UCLA. She also thought she'd signed divorce papers when the graduation caps were tossed, and they both went on their merry ways. 3 years later, Anna is a starving artist living paycheck to paycheck, while West is a Stanford professor. He may be one of 4 heirs to the Weston Foods conglomerate, but he has little interest in working for the heartless corporation his family built from the ground up. He is interested, however, in his $100 million inheritance. There's just one catch. Due to an antiquated clause in his grandfather's will, Liam won't see a penny until he's been happily married for 5 years. Just when Liam thinks he's in the home stretch, pressure mounts from his family to see his mysterious spouse, and he has no choice but to turn to the one person he's afraid to introduce to his 1%er parents, his unpolished, not-so-ex-wife. But in the presence of his family, Liam fears quickly shift from whether the feisty, foul-mouthed, paint-splattered Anna can play the part to whether the toxic world of wealth will corrupt someone as pure of heart as his surprisingly grounded and loyal wife. Liam will have to ask himself if the price tag on his flimsy cover story is worth losing true love that sprouted from a lie. Gosh, wow, this book sounds kind of crazy, but in such a good way, right? When Christina Loren delivers a fun and engaging rom-com each and every year, you better believe that their newest release is going to be on my TBR list, which is why I am definitely going to read this book next month. I have my advanced reader copy set and ready to go. I just need to break it open and get started, and I cannot wait. They explore so many different topics for their books, and I really love to pick their brains to learn about how they come up with their story ideas. And gosh, I'd love to have them on the podcast. But they weave in subsidized housing, elitist families, grocery store change, and of course, the favorite plot twist for romance books, the grandfather's will that forces his descendants to marry to gain their inheritance. Seriously, what is it about that setup that I love so much and read so often in books? I really think this is a book list asking to be made now that I think about it, or a podcast episode to do in the very near future. So mark my words, that's probably coming very soon. But here is hoping that Christina Loren deliver one of the best books of 2024 with this one. I hope they do. Okay, moving on to the next book. The next up on my list of most anticipated new romance books releasing in May of 2024 is Truth or Wolf by Anne Marsh. It is a paranormal romance kicking off a brand new series in the Smarty Pants Romance and Penny Reid universe, and it comes out on May 16th. Here is what it's about. Twin brothers Atticus and Ford Boone may share the same face and the same supernatural secret, but where Atticus is charismatic and charming, Ford is grumpy and reserved, and that's before he shifts into his wolf. When hardworking citizen scientist Alice Ames reluctantly returns to Green Valley to restart her stalled life, she's sure she knows what to expect. She'll save up the money she needs to escape to Nashville while nursing her secret infatuation with the ever-popular Atticus Boone and fighting with her high school nemesis, his twin brother. Alice hates Ford, and he's always hated her right back, but after a case of mistaken identity has Alice kissing the wrong twin, she does what any good scientist does and analyzes the facts. Fact 1. It's time to revisit her unrequited crush on Atticus. Who needs a white knight fantasy man when there's a rock-solid bearded lumberjack in your personal space? Fact 2. Stimuli and sensory input ahoy. Growing up, Alice saw Ford as the grumpiest, sternest guy in town. They fought for years. Apparently, that now sends her amygdala into sensual overdrive. Fact number 3. The more bearded the wolf, the more protective and possessive. As Alice finds herself irresistibly drawn to the man she loves to hate, the question lingers. How much of her level-headed heart is she willing to risk in the face of newfound desires and supernatural secrets? Oh my gosh. This book. If there are any Penny Reid fans out there, does this storyline happen to sound a little bit familiar? Are you getting any Truth or Beard vibes? Well, your spidey senses should be going off because Truth or Wolf kicks off the new Wolf Brothers series that adapts Reed's beloved Winston Brothers series as paranormal romance books. I mean, just take that in for a second. How freaking cool is that? I am so beyond excited for this. I cannot tell you. It is brilliant how Lainey Hatcher, the author, has been adapting Penny Reed's Knitting in the City series into a must-read historical romance series called London Ladies Embroidery, which are all fabulous reads, by the way, if you haven't yet checked them out. But I am so looking forward to seeing what Marsh does with the Winston Brothers series and creating this secret, paranormal world called Moonlight Valley, Tennessee. It's a small town like Green Valley, only where bearded werewolves outnumber the unsuspecting human inhabitants. I'm so here for it, let me tell you, and I am counting the days for this romance. And I hope you will too, if you are a fan of the Winston Brothers, or even if you're not. If you love werewolf romance books like I do, I think this is a definite must-read of the month. Okay, I'm done fangirling over that one. Moving on to the next book up on my list is Lies and Weddings by Kevin Kwan, which releases May 21st. And here is what it's about. Rufus Lung Grisham, future Earl of Greshambury and son of former Hong Kong supermodel, has a problem. The legendary Gresham Trust has been depleted by decades of profligate spending, and behind all of the magazine covers and Instagram stories, manners, and yachts lies nothing more than a gargantuan mountain of debt. The only solution put forth by Rufus's scheming mother is for Rufus to attend his sister's wedding at a luxury eco-resort, a veritable who's who of sultans, barons, and oligarchs, and seduce a woman with money. Should he marry Solange de Courcy, a French hotel heiress with honey blonde tresses and a royal bloodline? Should he pursue Martha Dung, the tattooed venture capital genius who passes out billions like lollipops? Or should he follow his heart, betray his family, squander his legacy, and finally confess his love to the literal girl next door, the humble daughter of a Dr. Eden Tong? When a volcanic eruption burns through the nuptials and a hot mic exposes a secret tryst, the Gresham family plans and their reputation goes up in flames. Can the once great dukedom rise from the ashes, or will a secret tragedy hidden for 2 decades reveal a shocking twist? In a globe-trotting tale that takes us from the black sand beaches of Hawaii to the skies of Marrakech, from the glitchy bachelor pads of Los Angeles to the inner sanctum of England's oldest family estates, Kevin Kwan unfurls a juicy, hilarious, sophisticated, and thrilling plotted story of love, money, murder, and the lies we tell about them all. Oh my gosh, this book, has so much going on with it. This will actually be my first book by Kwan, as I have not read Crazy Rich Asians. I've only seen the movie, and I didn't read the following 2 books in the series. And while we wait, it seems wait some more for those sequels to be made into movies, might as well check out this book, which sounds so fun and crazy, which might be his MO in his writing. I'm not really sure. I had to look it up, but I don't think he's actually released a book since 2020. So it's been 4 years, and I'm hoping he comes back with a bang in this romance that features a forbidden affair and volcanoes. Can't forget those volcanoes, people. I'm absolutely reading it for the volcanic eruption and the craziness that is going to ensue, or so I hope. I'm also really hoping for prose with a lot of detail about the setting, the crazy characters, the feelings, and just so really looking forward to Lies and Weddings releasing on May 21st. Now, the next new romance book I'm looking forward to reading is Savor It by Tara DeWitt, which is a fake dating romance releasing May 21st. And here is what it's about. Sage Bird has lived in the coastal town of Spoons, Oregon, not to be confused with Forks, Washington, her entire life. She's learned to love her small world with the misfit animals on her hobby farm and her friendships with the town's inhabitants. But when her 5-year relationship ends and her ex, town golden boy Ian, suddenly gets engaged, Sage needs a win, something that will convince everyone to stop pitying her all the time and to put Ian in his place. The Festival of Spoons, the town's annual summer competition, would be the perfect opportunity. She just needs a partner. Fisher Lang was a hotshot chef in New York City until the loss of his sister left him numb, grieving, and responsible for his teenage niece, Indy. When Fisher loses his Michelin star along with his love of cooking, his boss sends him and Indy to Spoons on a much-needed summer sabbatical to consult on a restaurant opening. But when clashes with the townspeople threaten his last chance to redeem himself, and a kiss with his new neighbor Sage leads to dating rumors, a strategic alliance might just be the best way to turn things around. A deal is struck. Sage will improve Fisher's image in the eyes of the town and remove the roadblocks he is facing with the restaurant, and Fisher will be Sage's partner for the competition. But as their pact quickly turns into steamy rendezvous, emotional wounds begin to heal, and the pair tries to savor every moment, and they start to realize that summer is racing by much faster than they would like. What is it, I gotta say, about fake dating romance books that I love so much? Gosh, seriously, this trope gives enemies to lovers a run for its money because I love it that much. This one had me at Michelin star chef because I'm a girl who loves good food, especially food that is cooked for me. But there is so much to unpack about this new romance release that I have a feeling I won't be able to put it down. From the cute small town competition to 2 wounded characters recovering from a loss, I'm really excited to jump into my first DeWitt romance and see what this author has to offer. And I think that you should too. And finally, last but not least, in May, I am also excited to check out Tate by Victoria Denault, which is her latest hockey romance that releases May 28th. And here is what it's about. I'm the only son of one of the best forwards in the history of hockey. I play for a team on the brink of winning the cup, and I'm about to break one of my dad's league records. Life is absolutely golden. Until Mallory Eccles comes to my game in Los Angeles with a baby. She says the little guy is mine, and as soon as I see his green eyes and the dimple in his pudgy chin, I know she's not lying. The tragic twist? He's not Mallory's baby. An awful accident on the other side of the world took his birth mom, and now I'm all he's got. Well, me and my 97 relatives once I find the guts to tell them. Mallory offers to stay in LA and help with the baby until I can wrap my head and my life around him. She's amazing with my son. She always knows what to do and what to say. And was she always this gorgeous? Our families back home hate each other, so just being friends with her was always a risk. Now the stakes are higher than ever. My son needs her, and I can't stop the feelings I have from growing stronger. I always take my shot on the ice, but do I dare take this one? All right, so I've come to learn that if Victoria Denault is writing a hockey romance, that I'm definitely going to check it out. This is actually book 2 in her hockey royalty series. I say that about her hockey romances, but I've actually yet to read the first one. But this one is on my radar, and I'm going to circle back to the first one after reading it. I'm not usually a fan of the surprise baby romance trope, but something about this single dad romance sort of just screams different to me. Plus, I want to know about what history Mallory has with this hockey star, because there seems to be something. Anyway, I love hockey romance, so it's really not a stretch for me to read Tate this coming May. And there you have it. My top 10 most anticipated new romance books dropping this May. Do any of them get you excited at all, or are you looking at a different title? If so, send me a note and let me know. Otherwise, be sure to mark all of these books on your TBR list so you don't forget them. Even better, grab yourself a copy of the She Reads Romance Books reading journal if you don't have one already, so that you can keep all of my book recommendations in one spot. Because if you're anything like me, you end up having little bits of paper or Post-it notes everywhere, and you never know what you wrote down or where. It's a problem I have, seriously, but not for my book recommendations. Those are safely tucked in my journal. So grab one with the link below in the notes or on shereadsromance.com so that you can snag one. Lastly, don't forget to visit shereadsromancebooks.com/book club to join the club. You can already get started watching the exclusive author interviews that I've posted there and check out the book discussion guide for our May selection. And as always, thank you in advance for giving this a star rating on your way out, or if you haven't already, consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Even if it's just to say, Leslie, you're awesome. It would really mean a lot to hear what you think of the show. So thank you so much in advance. And as always, happy reading, folks. And remember, life is better with a love story. That's all for this episode of the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new books to add to your TBR list. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. It really helps me reach more romance book lovers like you, and I appreciate your support. If you're a book boyfriend collector like me, then you'll want to join my email list so you never miss a podcast episode or a new book list. Just visit shereadsromancebooks.com/join and sign up today. As a thank you, I'll instantly send you my list of top 10 book boyfriends that will make you swoon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this list. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.